5 years from today, India is going to be the youngest country in the world. We have 605 million people today who are below the age of 25, which means that for the next 30 to 40 years, India is going to have a young, vibrant, working population that's really going to drive up its economy to great heights. And that is the demographic dividend that everybody is talking about. And that is what India is preparing for, making sure that the youth of today are educated, that they are skilled, and that they are employable, so that they can contribute to this economy. Now, let me tell you something more about this population that we found out recently from a study that we did called the Yuva Nagrik Meter. This study was done across the length and breadth of the country in 11 state capitals. And we spoke to teenagers, students of class 9 and students of first-year degree college, thousands of them. And I'm just going to give you a glimpse of some of the things that they have told us. 53% said that they favor military rule as opposed to democracy. 43% thought that it was okay to violate rules because you can always get away with bribery. 43% boys and 39% girls said that women have no option but to accept a certain degree of violence. Shocking, isn't it? 45% agreed that construction workers cannot demand basic facilities like toilets and proper housing. And 65% said that they would not favor the meeting of boys and girls of different religions in public places. Astounding, isn't it? When you think that these are teenagers who are telling you this. So it really got us thinking, are we looking at a demographic dividend or are we looking at a potential sociological disaster? Are we going to see a greater rise in social conflicts? Is the divide only going to get worse? Is there any hope at all for our democracy? Well, we believe there is, and that change is possible. Let me share 3 stories with you. This is Vijay Lakshmi. She studies in a school in Karnataka, in a small village. She also worked as a child laborer in a factory. Now, her classmates learnt about right to education and about child labor being illegal through our citizenship education course. And they marched up to the factory owner and made sure that they got Vijay Lakshmi back into school with the help of their teacher, because they told the factory owner that it was illegal to hire her. The children of Muttur village in Karnataka, they learned through the right to education that they are entitled to free books, free notebooks, free textbooks. Yet their principal had asked them for 10 rupees each. They knew this was wrong. So they marched up to the principal and said, no, we have learned that we are entitled to free books. And that is what we ought to get. We don't need to spend 1 rupee. The principal ultimately had no option but to give back the 10 rupees that he had collected from every child. And this is in Bombay, the students of Billabong High School in Juhu. If any of you have been in Juhu, you'd know that the road in front of the school would always get flooded during the monsoons because the gradient of the road was not done properly. So the children wrote letter after letter to the ward office, and they made sure that the BMC department had corrected the road and that flooding was no longer a problem. That's what children have been able to do, and that's what we have been able to instill in our children through our citizenship program in Children's Movement for Civic Awareness. And what we do is, we are not just telling them civics. We are not teaching them anything. We are just literally taking the civics out from the textbooks and putting it into their real life. And what we actually teach them or instill in these children are just 4 basic values: concern, cooperate, confront, and coexist. So what is concern? We talk about issues that bother them, issues that concern them in their neighborhood. What are the little things that bother them? More importantly, what is it that you can do about it? We share helpline numbers, so these children actually call up helpline numbers and complain. And complaining, as we tell them, is the first form of confrontation. Complaining to the right authority, not complaining amongst your friends. Complain to the right authority and make sure that you get your job done. And even while we are telling them about their rights and what they're entitled to and what they must get, we also tell them about cooperating with the law, about being good citizens, about understanding the role of the public as much as that of the government in a democracy. And finally, of course, in the spirit of our Constitution, we talk about celebrating diversity, about practicing equality. And we have a lot of events and activities that encourage this. The important thing is that all this is done not through a civics class or a moral science class, but the whole learning experience is very, very democratic, it is participatory, and it is empowering. For example, one of the projects that the children do every year in our schools is the School Profile Project. What is the School Profile Project? It's nothing but an audit of the school. So we divide the class into different groups: electricity, water, sanitation, whatever. And each group goes and does an audit of their own school on all these aspects. So how many lights and fans? Are they left on? Is there something that's broken? So on and so forth. What it does is, it actually helps the children look at their own school in a whole new light, the way they've never looked at it before. And it literally opens their third eye, so to speak, because they're looking at things differently. At the end of the audit, 2 things happen. Either the children realize that, yes, everything is in place, the school has done an amazing job, nothing needs to be done in terms of the infrastructure, but maybe the lights and fans are still being left on, maybe water is still being left open, maybe somebody's not flushed, because that's what they see adults doing, right? So that's when our students do campaigns in the school to spread awareness to other school students. The other thing that could happen is that they've suddenly noticed that, oh, this latch is broken, or that window is broken, or that switch is not working, as the case might be. That is when the students go up to the management, to the school principal in most cases, and then make an appeal and ask for these things to set right. Because they know that they are entitled to it and they must get it. And this is important because for the child, this is the first experience of dealing with authority. And we really know that these children will carry this experience with them as they grow up. In our villages, as you may know, the situation is even worse. Sometimes the basics are not in place. No school, no classrooms. And yet, these children have gone and spoken not only to the school principals, but even to block-level officers, to the Gram Panchayats, and asked for things to be done. And let me share some examples with you of 8 such Gram Sabhas that we had last year. The pictures are self-explanatory, and you can see what they have got for themselves. So the important thing in all of this is that the children didn't demand any charity. They didn't go and seek charity. They actually went to the authorities concerned and demanded what was due to them, but which had not been given to them. And that's the power that children have demonstrated. And these children have really shown us that they have felt the need for change, that they have believed that it was possible, and therefore they acted upon it and they influenced others. Now, you may ask me, have we made an impact with this kind of citizenship education? Well, when we did the Yuva Nagarik Meter study that I spoke about, we did speak to some CMCA students or students who had gone through CMCA for a year. And here's what they told us. So on adherence to civic rules, average high school student score was just 15%, whereas CMCA alumni scored 43%. That was the difference. On gender equality, high school students scored a very poor 12%, whereas CMCA students scored 28%. And on rights and responsibilities, high school students scored 27%, and CMCA students scored a little better with 33%. Yeah. So 15 hours, that's roughly the amount of time that we get with our students every year. And I'm telling you that if this is what 15 hours of education can do, imagine what we could do if there was a complete paradigm shift in our education system. If only our education system did not focus on producing more graduates or more skilled workers, but in fact, if we could focus on producing good citizens, active citizens, who will build our nation and who will build the character of our nation. That is the kind of democratic citizenship education that we need in our country. Because we have also seen from our own experience that when we have instilled these democratic values in our children, they have also learned along the way a lot of life skills, which are so important. Life skills like empathy, critical thinking, creative thinking, understanding of a mutual interdependence of people. These are all very, very important values, and our children have learnt this. And that's the only way our country can produce active citizens. So I think the time is now to tell our students that you don't have to wait till you're 18 to make a difference to the world. Your time is now, and let's just empower them and give them the confidence and watch and see how they build our country. Thank you.